The following program, The Lightning Strike, is sponsored by Mohammed Fahim, and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Fahim, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, Chicago, and it's finally snowing in Chicago. I hope you guys are having a safe drive today. Be careful when you are out on the roads. It's pretty icky out there. With me in the studios today again, Ken DeLuke.
Howdy, folks.
And John Arena.
Good morning.
Good morning to you both. And the number to call in is 773-763-9278. You are tuned in to the Lightning Strike. Final show of the year today, and we hope that you all have a very, very nice and productive, healthy and happy 2024. Folks, we'll be covering quite a few things today, and obviously at about 9:30, we'll have a guest who will be calling in. John, you want to introduce the guest and what we will be talking about?
Yeah, so we're going to be talking to Dan Kleiman today. He's running for Chicago's elected school board, which may be new news to some people, and we'll talk a little bit about the background on that. But this election is going to be happening in November of 2024, so we're quite a bit ahead, but it's a very new seat that's going to be elected. So a little bit of history is back in 2011 when I was on city council, there was a push to change the fact that Chicago's school board had since about 1995 been appointed by the mayor entirely. Mm-hmm. A lot of concern about that. That's a lot of power centered in one person. So there was a push to put a referendum on the ballot back in 2012. Rahm Emanuel wasn't too happy about that. Some of his allies on the city council helped stall that effort for us to get 11 wards to have it on the ballot as one of the three questions that the Chicago can put on there. Okay. It ended up getting on the ballot in a couple of wards. It was overwhelmingly supported, and polling showed that it was very supported. So over the course of the next 8-10 years, folks like Rob Martwick, Senator Rob Martwick now, has picked it up and carried the ball over the finish line. So we actually have a law at the state level that calls for elections. Again, they're going to be in November of 2024. There's going to be 20 districts. They're still working out the map, and so it's a little bit kind of fungible right now. Okay. But the process is set, and we want to start talking about this and make sure the voters have some information. So 2021, the law was passed. In 2022, they were started working on the maps. Just last year, they actually got to the point where the law was finalized, signed by the governor, and like I said, early next year when they come back for session, they're going to work out the final maps. So at 9:30, hopefully people will stay on and listen to what Dan Kleiman has to say about why he's running.
Well, sounds good. And folks, if you ask me, guys, we should not have any of these appointed board positions at all. I mean, everything should be, an elective board for almost everything out there, because the people should have the choice, right? Yeah. If you have politicians appointing people, nothing gets done, and no one is held accountable. We will also be joined shortly with, Michelle Alfano, who will be giving us an update on what's happening with Eric Strang and the Iowa prison system, the Newton facility in Iowa. Again, that is something that we have been following up for the last few weeks now. Folks, it is important for us to get involved, to make sure that things change for the better. Ken, you had a rant for today. What's your rant?
Well, I really want to push the concept of compared to what. Now, a lot of people, they have the perception that they don't like the way things are going, but in reality, if you look at all the metrics, things are actually going pretty good. Inflation is going back down. I just heard that the mortgage rates are dropping here shortly. The Dow is literally at the highest it's ever been in history. Okay. People say, well, I don't like the price of eggs. Well, I was shopping yesterday. The price of eggs were actually pretty low. So it's not even a deal anymore. And even though you may feel that you're not exactly happy with your position in life, you have to consider the alternatives, okay? I mean, you're looking at something that's kind of going well now, but if you look at what has just happened in the previous administration, you had a guy who said that Mexico is going to pay for the wall. Well, actually, we took billions of dollars out of our military budget to do it. You have a guy who's called women dogs, been married 3 times, cheated on them, brags about committing sexual assault, mocks disabled people, and he loves God, right? He lost in 2020, but he says the election was stolen, claims that he was the cause of low gas prices, even though there was a pandemic and nobody was driving. He's a very stable genius because he can say 5 whole words in order. He says he's for the military, yet he dodged a threat 5 times, demeaning the Gold Star family, insulted a military widow, and called fallen war patriots suckers and losers. He sided with Putin over our own intelligence agency, stolen national security secrets. He praised Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, Chairman Xi, and insults President Biden and says he's for America first. I can go on, and I will in future rants, but just think of what the alternative is. Right now, things are going good, folks, so let's look positive. It's a new year coming up, and let's try to, do what's important for you, your kids, your grandkids, and let's make this a better place.
Sounds like a plan. You forgot the golden showers also.
Oh, well, I was saving that for next week.
So I paid $2.65 for gas at the corner of Cumberland and Higgins Avenue last night.
Yeah.
$2.65. If anybody who says the price of gas is a problem, I don't know, should we say thank you, Biden? Because they were all saying thank you, Trump, for the pandemic gas prices.
Here's the thing, okay? Obviously, economy is coming back up, and a lot of people don't like it. So 2023, folks, has been a strange year for us, okay? We've had some good things. But there have also been a lot of bad things, especially what is happening in the Middle East. As an American, I feel personally responsible for not holding our leaders up to the task that they were tasked with, man. Why are we continuing to support a Zionist organization, a Zionist entity that is clearly in 4K real life every single day? When I get up in the morning and I see the news, I feel like puking, okay? There is genocide happening, and it is our tax dollars that are paying for it. That is something that I definitely would hold the administration accountable for, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a tough position to be in with this administration, and because they want to support Israel's right to exist. The problem is this has gone too far. I think at some point you have to look at, they started with saying go south, to the southern half of Gaza. Yep. Now they're kettling them back down in Rafah. Just the other day there was a video that Al Jazeera was showing live, 4 missiles hitting a hospital. Mm-hmm. So now we're talking this propaganda that, well, these are rogue missiles, these are accidents. The targeting that Israel has, the ability to target with these missiles, is absolutely off the charts. And to hit a hospital where you've told everybody, go down there, you'll be safe. I mean, it's now just, it's getting to be a point where it's ludicrous.
Yeah, and the response itself is an order of magnitude greater than what the original problem was. Sure, you have to respond when someone attacks you, but I mean, you don't respond by putting tens of thousands of more people, in harm's way compared to the 1,000 or so that, you were harmed by. That's just ridiculous. And it's not their fault. They're not the ones attacking you. You don't, and here's the thing, guys. We are
actually supplying more and more fuel to this entire imbroglio over there. The Biden administration, Secretary Blinken, it looks like he's running the country, not the president. And that is something that needs to be addressed, folks. And if you want to comment on it, feel free to call in. 773-763-9278 is the number to call in. And it is time we hold our elected officials accountable for how our country is perceived around the world. I mean, we are losing face so much. It is nuts. And for us to sit back and say, oh, no, we need to support Israel. Yeah, Israel has a right to exist. No one is denying that. Yeah. But not at the extent of exterminating entire populations of people right in front of our eyes. We are going to be held accountable for that. At the end of the day, it's not so much that we don't want Israel to exist. No one is doubting that. And the moment you speak anything against, the war or in support of the Palestinian people's rights, immediately people are jumping down your throat that, hey, you are anti-Semitic.
Yeah. And
How do we resolve it? And that is where our leadership has to come up and take responsibility for this and say, hey, enough is enough. Cut it out. Let us sit down and talk about it and come up to a solution for this. I don't think the military might is the right solution for this thing that we are getting into in the Middle East now.
Yeah.
We had talked the other night, and I was trying to bring up a point is that this is kind of playing in Hamas's hands, not because what Israel's doing is making Hamas look better. Obviously, they don't look good at all. But what it's doing is it's making Israel look worse. And that is just playing right into this whole scenario to increase tensions in the Middle East. So, I mean, we need to find a solution here. We need Israel to back off and, do something that makes more sense. If you want to strategically go neighborhood to neighborhood, and then root out the bad guys that way, that makes sense. To completely obliterate a block and kill kids, that does not make sense. So let's get your act together, guys.
Yeah, and the Nathan is basically a Yahoo. Okay, I mean I think his name is Nathan Yahoo. This guy is acting like a Yahoo, folks, and we have to pay attention to this and get up and hold him accountable for all of these war crimes that he is perpetuating over there now. Okay. Again, folks, you are listening in to the Lightning Strike, final show of the year, 2023. There is so much that has happened this year, including COVID is back.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people are getting sick because of that. There's so many good things that also happen, and we will be definitely following up on the good things that are happening. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we'll have Michelle Alfano give us a quick update on what's happening with the Eric Strang situation and the Iowa Correctionals, the Newton Correctional Center in Iowa.
Are you a business looking for the right talent or a job seeker searching for your dream career? Look no further than the Center for Strategic Solutions, your workforce solutions expert. Our experienced team at the Center for Strategic Solutions is dedicated to connecting employers with top-tier talent and helping job seekers find opportunities that truly align with their goals. We're more than just consultants. We're your partners in success. Ready to take your workforce to the next level or land that ideal job? Contact the Center for Strategic Solutions today at 1-847-306-9274 or www.cfssus.com. The Center for Strategic Solutions, empowering employers and jobs.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Muhammad Fahim. With me in the studio again today, Ken DeLuke and John Arena. And we are wrapping up the year 2023, and we wish you all a very happy, productive, and healthy 2024. And hopefully the madness that 2023 is ending on will stop in 2024. And talking of madness, we have the case of Eric Strang and 45 other people who are being brutally brutalized is the word that I can use in our prison system. Michelle, good morning. Can you give us an update on what's happening with Eric?
Yes, good morning, Mohammed. So I'm here today to speak a little bit about sexual harassment by staff at Newton Correctional, which is a treatment center. It's run by Warden Sean Howard and Deputy Warden Sean Crawford. And I'm talking today about excessive strip searches. So you're probably thinking, well, hey, the guy must have done something to deserve that. But in Eric's case, which, let me remind you, is just one case, but of thousands. We're talking about a prison industrial complex that is gigantic. So Eric, for example, was held 13 days in solitary and not found guilty of any offense. And then another 15 days where the issue was speaking to the media. So this is a treatment center. So as I describe what's been going on, think in your mind, well, is this rehabilitation? So when they put you in solitary, they remove the person by force. The big drama, they grab you and it's scary to everyone there, and they put your hands behind the back, they throw you up against the wall. It's very much by force. They don't tell you what the charges are. In Eric's case, it took 19 days to get any charges. And then they take away all your privileges, no phone, no visiting, no mail. And the first thing they do is they strip you naked and they put you in a shower stall. And they remove all of your clothes, and then you are subjected to a full-body strip search, which involves a visual cavity search of your mouth and your anus, and you have to squat and cough, and it's a very dehumanizing sexual violation. I would submit to you that it does not help with rehabilitation at all. And during the solitary process, you are allowed 3 showers a week, but to do that shower, you have to go through another invasive sexual body search of your cavities, your mouth, your genitals, before the shower and after the shower. You're also allowed 1 hour of rec, where they put you in a kennel outside. It's a chain link kennel, 6 feet by 10. But to go to the kennel, you have to go through the sexual body search and going out and coming back in. So the result, of course, is that people don't want to shower and they don't go out. It is not rehabilitative at all. And when they do these showers, if you do go to your shower, you are you're shackled when you go, and then you go into the shower, you're naked in front of male and female correctional officers. Any staff passing by, they can watch you, and they do. They stand and they watch, both men and women. They can also watch you showering from a control room where they have shielded tinted glass, and they can see you, but you can't see them.
Michelle, let me ask you a quick question.
Ongoing sexual harassment.
Michelle, what is their rationale? I mean, I could see if they're coming into the jail or whatever, they want to do a search to make sure they're not smuggling something in. But obviously, if they're going into a shower or out of the shower, what is their rationale for doing those searches? Do they have one?
Well, the security director is Demetrius Bowens, and he has made it pretty clear that if you try to exercise your First Amendment right by speaking out, speaking to the public, speaking about your own case, we're going to make your life hell. And we're going to torture you. And we're going to do it so that others can see, so that others become very afraid as well. That seems to be the message that the men are getting.
Well, Michelle, thank you for that update, Michelle. And I did share with you that another a federal lawsuit has been filed in against the Fort Worth prison staff in Texas by April Lacey, who still has nightmares now about sexual exploitation while she was a prisoner over there. She now lives in El Paso, and she was incarcerated at the FMC Carlsbad, which is a federal medical prison for women in Northwest Fort Worth. So, folks, it is happening all over. It is about power that these people want to have absolute power on these people who are incarcerated. It's supposed to be a correctional facility, John. I mean, where is the correction happening over here?
I don't see a whole lot of that. I see a lot of, harsh punishment for, exercising constitutional rights. These are citizens still, and while they're serving their time, and he has actually served his sentence, he's now in this kind of, limbo. But I read the narrative that Michelle shared with us, and it is horrifying. It is chilling to think about going through that process and sitting in a cell for 23 hours a day, getting put in a cage, and every time you move from one place to another to be violated that way. I mean, that's stuff we hear about in third world countries and places where dictators are just prosecuting political prisoners. This is America, and it's horrifying to see a young man treated
and
like this.
I've been reading a lot of stories about the prison system now. When they are released, it seems that they just drop people off on a corner with like $40 and a bus ticket. You're on your own in society now. Can you imagine the kind of people that we are letting out without any kind of support? I mean, these guys have PTSD like crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle, again, thank you for keeping us updated. We will definitely continue to follow this. And folks, if there are any attorneys that are listening to us now, if you would like to take this up as a human rights violation and the First Amendment rights violation case, I'm pretty sure there could be even a class action lawsuit that can be filed on something like this, because this is happening all over the country, not just in one correctional facility. Michelle, you got into this, you got involved in it, but can you imagine the hundreds and thousands of people out there who are constantly suffering in our systems?
That's right, because really, Mohammed, we're talking about people who are voiceless. And I think it's very dangerous when sexual harassment is happening to the person who has no voice. And remember, this is a rehabilitation center. These people are coming back to society, and I wonder, how long does rehabilitation take? For example, Eric, he's been incarcerated now 17 years. His original offense was urinating in public as a teenager. He made a stupid mistake, but at some point, people do make mistakes. Anyone who hasn't, raise your hand, because we've all been stupid teenagers. We have kids. We know. And at some point, forgiveness has to be a part of the equation. We have to move forward. People have value, even people who made mistakes. They can come back to the community and contribute. So at some point, not only are we not rehabilitating, as you said, we're causing this terrible trauma. And the DOC's mission statement says that they are trying to make communities safer. But in fact, this is endangering communities.
Absolutely.
Because rather than doing rehabilitation, we're creating trauma where there wasn't any.
Absolutely.
And now people are angry and frustrated, and that makes our communities less safe.
Absolutely.
So
Folks,
as we go into 2024, let's create the change that we want.
Absolutely. Michelle, thank you so much. And folks, we are also in the process of starting a podcast for the Lightning Strike, and you can go to www.tlschicago.com, our website, /podcast, and we will be posting podcasts up there. We are discussing a lot of stuff on the radio now. Okay, in 1 hour, we can only scratch the surface of a lot of topics. So anything that we want to do a deep dive into, we are going to do it in the shape of a podcast, and you can listen to our first podcast that we have already recorded, and it has been uploaded today. And that has to do with the impact of on families of people who are incarcerated. And this is something which is very important. The Lightning Strike started off as a show that we can bring attention to on social issues. This is something that we are very much focused on. So if you have an issue that you would like us to look at and do a deep dive into, feel free to call us. You can even text us at 773-763-9278. We'll take a quick break and come back on the other side of the break with Daniel Kleinman.
Your porch is one of the best features of your building, but if your porch isn't up to date with Chicago's latest building codes, you could be facing big fines. Call 773-PORCHES today to receive a free evaluation of your porch. If your porch received a violation notice or is in need of repair or replacing, call 773-PORCHES and we will give you a free written quote by one of our trained porch specialists. We provide all plans and permits required to get the job done right. Just dial 773-PORCHES or visit us at 773porches.com. Let us take your porch to another level. Call 773-PORCHES. That's 773-PORCHES.
Hey folks, did you know there's a program in Illinois that if you qualify for it would allow you to get solar installed in your home at no out-of-pocket cost? The benefit to you would be a reduction of your electric bill, possibly as high as 30 to 50%, and more importantly, you would take out the uncertainty of almost guaranteed future price increases imposed from your electric company. If you'd like to see if you can qualify for this program, call Ken DeLuke at 312-617-8979. That's 312-617-8979. Help us save the environment and change that electric bill burden.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks. Coming back now on the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Fahim. With me in the studio today, our co-host, Ken DeLuke and John Arena. And we have our guest calling in, Daniel Kleinman. Good morning, Dan. You are on the air on WCPT with Mohammed, Ken, and John.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. How you doing on is this our first snow? Did we have snow before?
Not quite the first one.
We had some snow in November,
It was
right?
like a quarter inch, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, Christmas was a bust, obviously. No snow on Christmas. The warmest Christmas, I guess, on record.
Yeah.
The second warmest.
T-shirt weather.
Yeah.
Well, the whole year has been the warmest year in recorded history, so it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, and our folks on the other side of the aisle think there's no global warming. Tell someone in Chicago who has a snow truck that they invested in that there's no global warming. So, Daniel, John has been speaking so highly of you, and my daughter, my second daughter, is actually a school teacher, and I was talking with her about what do you think about having an elected school board, and she says, Dad, that should have been done a long time back.
And Chicago's the only, just for point of information, Chicago's the only school district in Illinois that does not have an elected school board. So Dan's taking on this challenge, and Dan, I want to ask you a few questions. Let you introduce yourself to folks. Tell us about what neighborhood you live in and how long you've been there, and what you've been doing that qualifies you to represent that area on the new school board.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you so much. Well, I live with my wife in the Edgewater neighborhood. Those keeping count, that's the 48th Ward, up kind of by the lakefront. It's beautiful. I love it. I have been in that neighborhood pretty consistently since moving to the city to attend college at Loyola up at the north side. And since graduating there, 15 years ago, oh my gosh, I got involved in the block clubs that were very engaged in that neighborhood. And getting involved in the block clubs at that kind of early age really positioned me in a way to understand the importance of collaboration and communication when working with, community efforts, people who may not always agree with everything, but may agree with some things. And that tradition that was found at the Edgewater experience really guided what could be done. Community gardens were produced, safety efforts were produced. And, that's the kind of leadership that I would want to bring from the neighborhood into the school board. Absolutely.
And it sounds like, talking about your past, you've been involved in education activism and even served on for 6 years on some local school councils. What's some of the favorite things about serving on those councils, and what did that experience teach you?
Yeah, thank you. The first local school council I served on was Senn High School in the Edgewater neighborhood. That was actually the first year of Mayor Emanuel's term, and it was just then in that instance that he kind of made the unilateral decision with his appointed board to close 50 schools. And it was a very formative experience to be involved in a LSC of a school that was not even receiving that huge of a budget hit, while at the same time, teachers and community members and students who were completely losing their rights of representation to attend schools in their neighborhood. And that was just, that was devastating. And it kind of formed my opinion of why an elected school board is so important. And from there, I actually did move to the Uptown neighborhood, terrific neighborhood. And I lived there for about 4 years. And during that time, I was elected to the community representative seat at Disney Magnet Elementary. And that was fascinating to serve on a magnet school, as well as what they do is a unique approach called pod education.
Okay.
And, seeing the different styles of, the traditional classroom versus experience showed me the robust diversity just in the approach that the teachers of CPS are able to take just on their amazing training and skills and abilities. And being able to witness that firsthand, I think, gives me the appreciation that would be needed in the elected school board.
Hey, Dan, a quick question on that for you, okay? Is this a bipartisan kind of election, or is this something that you have to run on a party platform?
Terrific question. No, it is by law nonpartisan.
Okay.
So the candidates that were passing petitions, I was not. My petitions will, I guess, be coming out in March or so of 2024. The Springfield is, doing their best to make the best answers possible in how to release, a map that is most equitable to the city, and how to really try and get it out in time for, I think, a fair election.
Okay.
Yeah. And real quick on that, April 1st is the statutory deadline for the legislature to draw the maps. The petition deadlines are unknown. And this is supposed to be a hybrid board, this first seating. It's 10 members are elected, and then the mayor is still going to appoint 10. And then in 2025, 2026, as we go forward, that's supposed to turn into a fully elected school board. I think that's still being worked out as to whether that's equitable and the right way to go. But so there's we've posted some of this on our Facebook page about the timeline that's going on for people to check out. Dan, I wanted to talk to something that's about you personally that you've been very open about, and I wanted to kind of get your take on and let people hear why this is important to you to speak out. You've been open about a diagnosis of bipolar disorder type 1, and why do you think that's important as you go forward to talk to voters, and how that's affected your ability to represent folks?
Yeah, it's a personal topic, and I thought it was important to be open and honest about it, just because I think it informs a lot of my opinions of what a school can do. Growing up with a disorder like bipolar disorder, things were a challenge. Every student growing up has great challenges, but when you have a disability, challenges can be more unique. And the school I went to was so well resourced that they were able to provide me a position in a secondary classroom. And that classroom had, probably a 3-to-1 teacher ratio. They had a teacher, they had a counselor, they had a support staff. And because of that service, I was able to graduate and I was able to get into college. And since talking about it more openly, people have come up to me. They said, "Oh, my son, my daughter, I grew up with," and I'm coming to the opinion more and more that I think if we all can talk about things that we all do share, I think then we can make it even more equitable decisions for, not just the matters of mental health in the schools, but more compassion to all matters.
Yeah. And
Hey, Dan, a quick question for people who don't know. What does being a school board member represent? What powers do you have, and what can you change, and what do you have control over?
I think that is a great question. There is a lot of flexibility, I think. I'll give you an example of what the board has just done at its last meeting, which I actually do believe is very significant. They released a strategic plan for CPS, and in that plan they announced a paradigm for community supportive schools, the ability to offer wraparound services, extracurriculars that provide guidance and support to students at schools that need it. And it's that kind of thing that does the legislature that creates the school board say the school board can do that? No, the legislation gives the school board the authority to run the district. And I think that is a good example of the district leadership using some of its creative skills to use those powers to formulate something more than just determining, what books are allowed in which grade, how much time is mandatory for recess. Those are things too. But I think that there's clear examples of where the Board of Education can go even a step further and create, paradigms of meaningful change.
Do you have control over the budget at all?
Absolutely. I think that is one of the key portions. I know, for example, one significant change that's going on with the budget is how schools receive their funding. I'm very much against this funding model that currently has been presiding over CPS, where the dollar value follows the students. So wherever the student goes, that's where the funding goes. If they all attend one school, that school will get all the funding. And what that does is it means that, a school that is struggling, students are leaving. So now it's losing even more money than before and struggling even more than before. So I'm very much in favor of a more needs-based, well-resourced model. And that's something that the school board could address.
Hey, Dan, we could fill a whole hour with this topic, and we really appreciate you being on. Why don't we close out with you telling us how the campaign's going and how people can find out more about you, either on social media or website?
Yeah, thanks. So this campaign, I'm thrilled. I'm having a great time. I take it very meaningful. We've already started fundraising. We've already started outreach to voters around the precincts here. So if you're interested and able, please visit votedaniel.us. That's VOTEDANIEL.us. There's forms to sign up to volunteer. You could read a little bit about me. And, of course, donate to support the campaign. I am so appreciative of everything.
Wonderful. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, we will be right back with our Persons of the Week. This time we have got two people who are coming on board. They are both psychologists, Gina and Hiram White. They are also working with the Pritzker administration. And they are professors, they are psychologists, and they're going to talk to us about what can we take into the new year to make it more positive for us. And speaking of positive, also, there's a website called nicenews.com. So it's not just all gloom and doom, nicenews.com. If you can go check it out. They talk about some of the good things that are happening also in our world. We'll take a quick break. After the break, we'll be back with Gina and Hiram White, with Sheila White joining us also.
best features of your building. But if your porch isn't up to date with Chicago's latest building codes, you could be facing big fines. Call 773-PORCHES today to receive a free evaluation of your porch. If your porch received a violation notice or is in need of repair or replacing, call 773-PORCHES and we will give you a free written quote by one of our trained porch specialists. We provide all plans and permits required to get the job done right. Just dial 773-PORCHES or visit us at 773porches.com. Let us take your porch to another level. Call 773-PORCHES. That's 773-PORCHES.
Are you a business looking for the right talent or a job seeker searching for your dream career? Look no further than the Center for Strategic Solutions, your workforce solutions expert. Our experienced team at the Center for Strategic Solutions is dedicated to connecting employers with top-tier talent and helping job seekers find opportunities that truly align with their goals. We're more than just consultants. We're your partners in success. Ready to take your workforce to the next level or land that ideal job? Contact the Center for Strategic Solutions today at 1-847-306-9274 or www.cfssus.com. The Center for Strategic Solutions, empowering employers and job seekers for success in the heart of Chicago.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike, final show of the year 2023, ending off on a good note over here. Like I was saying, there is a website called nicenews.com. And if you can go back and take a look at it, they talk about some of the best things that have happened in the year. That includes the deforestation in Brazil's Amazon Valley was way down, so that's good for the environment. Harvard researchers found the key to happiness, and that is not getting married. Okay. 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 And guinea worm diseases got close to eradication. Okay. That got John's attention over there. And,
I lost that key.
Okay.
My wife's going to be talking to me on the way. It's like, what kind of show are you on?
Okay. Now, I wasn't talking about you. Okay. Montana youth have won a landmark, climate case over there. And so there's plenty of good news, also good things that have happened, and America's gender pay gap has hit an all-time low. But we got Dan from Irving Park who wants to make a quick comment on charter schools. Dan, good morning, and welcome to the Lightning Strike.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I have a question that maybe one or all of you could answer. There's charter schools have proliferated across the nation in the past 20 years or so, and they're going into public school districts that have been built and funded on bonds and tax increases, of course. My question is, when a charter school system comes into an existing public school system, how does that affect the bond rating specifically for those schools in the public system, and how would it also affect the bond rating overall for the municipality? Would it be a positive, a negative, or a neutral effect? I know this is a rather dry subject and probably something that might drive your audience.
That is a very interesting thing that you brought up, and I think, John, you may have the right answer for that.
Well, I don't know if I could quote where the bonds have moved as, Chicago, which is my kind of field of play. I think, I don't think the charter schools are enough of a percentage of the overall Chicago system. There's 400 plus schools in the system, to say that, a charter school is going to be better or worse for it. I think what affects the bond rating the most is, what's the market see in terms of how the system is doing, what's the attendance rate, things like that, what's the outcomes that affects the bond rating. And that's an overall Chicago, kind of position as well. So bond ratings, I don't know if looking at that is maybe a determination of whether a school system is successful or not.
Okay. Dan, why don't we do this, man? Please tune in next week. We will definitely reach out to Dan Kleiman, who is running for the school board, and we'll see what his take on that is. Okay, we have already got him off the air today, so he won't be able to answer the questions today for you. But for sure, we will make a note, and we will talk with Dan Kleinman and get his take on that, and get back to you next week on that. How about that?
Very good. Have a happy New Year, and I want to thank Mr. Arena for all the work he did with Boy Scout Troop 963. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, folks. So we have got Sheila White, who is coming in with our Person of the Week, and actually it is a, buy one, get one free for us today with Gina and Hiram White joining us. Sheila, good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm really excited about our Person of the Week. Both, we have two today, like you said, two for the price of one. Gina and Hiram White, who are they're professors at the College of Lake County, marriage and relationship counselors, podcast hosts of That Life, and also talk show hosts on the Clear Table Talk Show. They're worked with the state of Illinois as well with Governor Pritzker. And as we go into the end of the year, Gina and Hiram, I would like to ask you, Hiram, what should be our focus for closing out this new year and going into the next?
Good morning, Sheila Muhammad. Thank you so much for having us on this last day of the year. Goodbye to 23 and Happy New Year to 24. One of the things that we should be looking at and going into this new year is trying to find some self-love and self-care. With everything going on, I think we as a people miss that. And we try to identify with so many things of the world, we are missing personally who we are and our purpose.
So, Hiram, let me ask you this. What do you guys do again? Sheila was telling me that you are working with the state of Illinois. What do you do over there?
So for the state of Illinois, which I always call our day job, me and Gina both are state employees. I work for Central Management Services.
Okay.
And with the DNI team, I am the African American Employment Plan Coordinator. And so what I do with all the state agencies and with our people, I try to go out and recruit and help people get state jobs, show them through career counseling, through recruiting, through career fairs, how to get state jobs. And I'll let Gina tell you what she does.
Good morning.
Good morning,
I am former chief of staff at one of the largest state agencies. I am now deputy director for the Illinois Power Agency, where my role is to make sure that energy is accessible to everyone and that we have an awareness of energy, especially in minority communities and minority businesses, making sure that they get a piece of the pie when it comes to doing business in the energy and solar world, because that is the future.
Gina, I have a question. I'm pretty familiar with the solar end of that. There was a Solar for All program, which the state of Illinois funded. There's currently a number of people on that list that are waiting because the funding ran out. Do you know if that's going to be refunded at all?
Well, we all have to wait a little bit for the governor's budget address. That's coming out really soon. But I know that the governor, his administration, our agency, even our federal partners are all very committed to increasing Illinois' access to solar energy and to making it accessible to regular citizens like me and you and all of us. And so there is a desire and an interest in doing what we can to further all of our programs, including Illinois Solar for All. So be on the lookout.
Gina, one of the things that maybe Ken and I have had the discussion in the past, okay, with solar power now, there has been a concern that once the life of that solar panel is over, recycling that, it seems, is going to be a major issue. Any thought given to that at all? Ken is shaking his head because he's selling the solar thing. So,
no, I know something about this. It's 98% of the solar panels recyclable.
Oh, come on, Ken.
And it's 25 years down the road.
Okay, but coming back to our purpose for today, we are not going to be discussing that. Okay, you guys are both psychologists, right?
No. We consider ourselves transformation strategists.
Wow.
I do have a master's in community counseling, and so I do counseling and coaching. And of course, with Gina, who has a master's, and her wheelhouse is HR, we put this business together called That Life. That life is to help people be transformed, healed, affirmed, and triumphant. So I do teach psychology. We do major in psychology, but we're not psychologists, but we're counselors and coaches.
Okay, I think there is a...
for about over 15 years at this point.
There's a huge need for this. I used to work with the Illinois WorkNet system as the Director of Business Employer Solutions and Corporate Relations in the Arlington Heights office. And obviously, CMS, we are very much aware of what CMS does. Hiram, real quick, if someone wants to get a job with the state, can you tell us what CMS is all about? A lot of people don't know that CMS even exists.
Yeah, so I call CMS is the central management system. It is the heart or the engine to all of state agencies. When I say all of state agencies, that's from DCFS, Department of Transportation, Employment Security. Mm-hmm. We are the heart of that. We support every state agency. And so what we're doing currently in my role at CMS is assisting with the hiring. If you go to Work for Illinois, Work for Illinois, the number 4 Illinois, you will see that there's usually over 400 positions daily through state agencies that we're looking for positions to be filled. And so my goal, or CMS goal, is to help identify people with resume, career counseling, and all of that, putting them together and slotting them for some of these state positions.
Now, people...
In February... on February 8th, we will be doing in honor of Black History Month, a state career fair on 119th at the Kroc Center, Salvation Army, where we will have a lot of the state agencies there, profiling and saying what their jobs is, and I'm hoping people can come out for career counseling and coaching and resume building.
Please do me a favor. If you could share that information with Sheila, and Sheila, if you could send that information out to us, we'll make sure that we continue to get the word out. And on that note, again, thank you both very much for joining us. A happy and productive and healthy new year. For the next year, we'll be starting off the January 7th show with a focus on...
We're going to be focusing on technology, primarily energy related. Terry Marker, she has over 41 patents worldwide. She's an amazing person, has some really interesting projects she's working on. Air to fuel, biomass to fuel, so it's totally green, carbon negative on the production of that. Jeff Hunter, he has a company that has a thing you can put underneath your floor and it heats. Okay, it's very thin. Graphene paint. It's compressed in between two pieces of plastic, and it'll take the place of your natural gas bill. So, there's some really interesting things that are going out there to make your homes more efficient and save you a lot of money. So that'll be interesting. So to stay, tune in next week.
Wonderful. And folks, you can always go to our website, www.tlschicago.com/donate. We want to keep the show commercial free as much as possible and listener supported. Your support has been invaluable for us in this past quarter that we have been on the air. Again, thank you all very much for joining us. Wish you a happy, productive, healthy new year. John, thank you very much for the venison that you brought this morning. You kept your promise. I haven't had a chance to taste it yet. And Ken, thank you for not sneezing in my face today. Okay. Dylan, thank you, man, for being with us this entire quarter. We have enjoyed having you run the boards for us, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun together next year. Signing off today, this is the December 31st show, final show of the year for the Lightning Strike. Folks, see you all next year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Sure.